Yo, Alpha,
Monster.
this one is global.
1.5 to stay alive. Caribbean people are survivors on the line. We can't afford to waste time. Just 1.5 to stay alive. We should be no warning. Then we come together to fight against global warming. Yes, we can't afford 2 degrees increase. All the policy makers have to consider this. Yeah, we must keep it under 1.5. Climate change is a serious thing, so we got to do what is right and hold it down. The temperature, hold it down. It's too much heat, hold it down. Natural disasters on the increase, hold it down. Sea levels rising, hold it down. Mother Earth is crying, hold it down. We must do something now. 1.5 to stay alive. Caribbean people are survivors on the line. We can't afford to waste time. That's 1.5 to stay alive. We should be no warning. There we come together to fight against global warming. Yeah.
We in the Caribbean and other island states across the Indian, Pacific and Atlantic Ocean are particularly vulnerable to the adverse effects of climate change. Although we contribute least to global warming, we are likely to suffer most from its adverse effects. So join the movement and let your voice be heard. We cannot allow global temperatures to increase by more than 1.5 degrees.
No.
St. Vincent, Grenada,
Hold it down.
St. Kitts and Antigua,
Hold it down.
Martinique, Jamaica,
Hold it down.
Dominica, yeah.
Hold it down.
In the Indian Ocean,
Hold it down.
in the Pacific Ocean,
Hold it down.
from Mama Africa back to St. Lucia.
1.5 to stay alive. Caribbean people are survivors on the line. We can't afford to waste time. That's 1.5 to stay alive. We should be no warning. Then we come together to fight against global warming. Hold it down.
Somos Caribbean Youth Environment Network, capítulo de Puerto Rico. En el 2017, nuestras islas fueron impactadas por el huracán María. En este desastre perdimos millones de árboles y también sufrimos debido a la escasez causada por nuestra dependencia a las importaciones de alimentos. Es por esto que decidimos trabajar por la reforestación y seguridad alimentaria de Puerto Rico. Comenzamos esta iniciativa visitando los sectores más afectados para entregar árboles frutales casa por casa. También entregamos semillas en muchos pueblos. En la actualidad estamos creando parques frutales en comunidades alrededor de Puerto Rico. Estos son espacios donde la comunidad obtiene árboles frutales y puede recibir sus tantos beneficios, tales como sombra, mejor calidad de aire, protección del agua, reconexión con la tierra y también podrán obtener frutos sanos y gratis. Hemos llegado a miles de familias y continuamos trabajando para crear más espacios seguros y saludables. De esta manera, apoyamos a nuestra seguridad alimentaria, a la reforestación, a nuestros ríos y a crear comunidades más fuertes ante los futuros efectos de la crisis climática. Conoce más sobre CYEN y síguenos en nuestras redes.
Here we have our cabbages. Right here we have some berries, and just today I find out our black supporter is bearing.
Hello, my name is Heidi, and I welcome you to Hope Garden. Today, I'm working on preparing a couple of pots to plant out some tomatoes and chickpeas actually, and then some of my marigolds that the seeds were gifted to me, well, swapped with me, with one of the members of the Backyard Garden group on Facebook. It has been such a great opportunity for me to be a part of this. It really encourages me and gives me ideas and encourages me to do research on questions that other people have that I also have myself. And one of them was, how do we save money on potting soil if we want to grow in pots?
More than just islands, we're one ocean nation. All beautiful emeralds set in one sea.
More than just islands, one blue ecosystem, each shimmering jewel made so wondrously.
Why wouldn't we care? One Caribbean sea.
We all belong here.
One Caribbean sea.
Loving and living and raising our children to cherish the lands of our birth.
Why wouldn't we care? One Caribbean sea. We all belong here. One Caribbean sea. And we will endure if we can just secure our treasures of blue sky and sand.
Hey family, this is Tedison John. If it's on land, it will end up in the ocean. And for every fish that chokes on our waste, someone's livelihood dies too. Some say, please stop marine pollution.
So many islands, familiar connections, sharing resources, one economy.
Hello, good morning, and thanks for joining us for the second information session for the CYEN uReporter Eco Solutions Challenge. My name is Carla Nichols, and I'm with the CYEN Barbados chapter, and I'm joined by Jared Thompson-Springer. I'll let him introduce himself.
Hi, good morning, everyone. So my name is Jared Thompson-Springer. I'm like Carla. I'm also a member of the Caribbean Youth Environment Network here in Barbados. And before we get into the competition itself, we will first discuss the platform that the competition is hosted on and why it's important that this tool be used in the Eastern Caribbean. So over to you, Carla.
Okay, so as we mentioned before, this competition takes place on the uReport platform. So you might want to know, why would we use the uReport platform? Well, in the 2021 inaugural Caribbean Youth for Climate Action Conference hosted by CYEN earlier this year, one of the panelists pointed out that the Caribbean is suffering from a data deficit. That means that there is a lack of data generated by us, for us, that we can use to inform our policy decisions to meet our needs. uReport is a platform that aims to help erode that deficit by getting real-time views and opinions from youth globally. Content is primarily in the form of polls and information box. So what uReport does is it lowers the barrier to entry in contributing to this data that policymakers will receive and use to make their decisions. All you really need is a cell phone or a Facebook account, things that youth already have, and you can contribute to the information being collected. So what is ureport itself? Ureport is a social messaging tool and data collection system developed by UNICEF to improve citizen engagement, inform leaders, and foster positive change. The program sends SMS polls, or in this case, WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger, and alerts its participants, collecting data and publishing the gathered data. So ureport takes place on Facebook Messenger and WhatsApp. It exists in over 84 countries. It's not just in the Caribbean, and it's a tool developed by UNICEF to collect data and ask people about topics they care about and push out information to people they care about. Now we'll watch a short video on ureport.
Ureport is a free SMS-based platform that gives young people an opportunity to speak out about issues happening in their community. The issues discussed on Ureport is a free SMS-based platform that gives young people an opportunity to speak out about issues happening in their community. The issues discussed on Ureport vary from health, education, using a free SMS tool. With a basic phone, young people can be engaged in issues that concern them. Countries like
Carla. Right, in the video, you can't hear it clearly.
Okay, I'll raise the volume.
Ureport is a free SMS-based platform that gives young people an opportunity to speak out about issues happening in their community. The issues discussed on Ureport vary from health, education, using a free SMS tool. With a basic phone, young people can be engaged in issues that concern them. In countries like Liberia, where Ureport has been used during the Ebola outbreak, within 4 weeks of setting up, new reporters were empowered and they were able to get real-time information that was life-saving.
So thank you for watching. As you would have seen, ureport was used in Liberia to help people during the Ebola outbreak. So it would have pumped information straight to people's phones where they already are, to give them tools to save their lives and to keep themselves and their families safe. In the Caribbean, ureport was used to distribute information during the ashfall from La Soufrière that happened recently, or to publish hurricane preparedness tips to people during hurricane season. So it has a wide variety of uses, and it's dynamic in that it can be adjusted to suit the needs of the region which it's serving. So now we're going to talk about the competition, and Jared is going to explain the Ureporter Eco Solutions Challenge to you guys. So over to you, Jared.
All right, thank you very much, Carla. So as Carla recently discussed, that the competition is held on the Ureport platform. Now, the competition can be accessed through 2 social media platforms, Facebook Messenger and WhatsApp. Later in the session, we'll discuss exactly how you can become involved in the competition, how you can join it and submit your submission into the competition itself. But I'll just go through. So the competition actually is a 9-week competition in which there are 3 sections. In each section, there's a poll on a climate-related or environmental topic that in the Eastern Caribbean. So the first section, we had a poll on climate adaptation in the Eastern Caribbean, and now we are in the second section where we're discussing food and water security. So in each section, there are 3 weeks. So there's 3 weeks each section. There are 3 sections, so it's a 9-week competition. In each section, we are asking for individuals to provide an actionable idea on one of the poll topics. And also, we are conducting these information sessions to provide participants with as much information as they need to contribute to the to engage in the competition itself. Now, also one of the very important parts of the competition is that you have the opportunity to win a $100 US gift card. So once you've submitted your actionable idea on the poll topic, you have a chance to win $100 US, $100 US gift card. All right, now we can go on to the next, right. All right, so we've just basically discussed how the competition is structured. And for this second section, as I said, we are talking about food security, food and water security here in the Eastern Caribbean. So first, we will have just a little discussion about it. Carla and I are not experts in the field, but we'll have a slight discussion, and anyone is available to chime in and provide any of your own personal experiences or your own any ideas that you may have as it relates to the topic. But first, we will discuss what is food and water security. Food security is the capacity for everyone in a society to have the ability to access enough safe and nutritious food to meet the requirements for a healthy life in ways that the planet can sustain in the future. While water security is a capacity for a population to have reliable and safe access to enough safe water to meet their needs for human well-being, sustaining livelihoods, and economic development. Now, food and water security is very important. One, because food and water is a necessity for human life and socioeconomic development. So it is very important that here in the Eastern Caribbean, we strive to have food security so that everyone in our population has access to food and water so that they can strive in their personal lives and we can strive as a community. All right, Carla, do you have anything that you want to say about the importance of food and water security?
I'd like to say that food and water are needs. So the ability to get food and water dictates what you can expend on your wants or your desires. So it's very important that we have food and water security, because without food and water, there's no life. So it's important that we have those covered so that we can deal with the other aspects of life that are not so important. So it affects every aspect of our life, whether or not we have enough food or water.
Yes, I completely agree. Yeah. Right, so then we now are going to talk about some of the threats to food and water security here in the Eastern Caribbean. Now, first of all, the threats of food and water security are multifaceted. Definitely one of the major threats to food and water security currently is the COVID-19 pandemic. It has caused a significant impact on food security here in the region due to various factors, but one of them being the fact that it has resulted in a high amount of unemployment in the region, therefore restricting people's economic ability to access food and Also, this also has a significant impact on youth, because it has also caused a large increase in youth unemployment, therefore making it very difficult for vulnerable communities, especially youth, from accessing food here in the Eastern Caribbean. Yes. Right. Also, as we can also discuss the fact that another threat to food and water security is climate change, definitely. Because as we can see in the region, that there's been increasing in droughts and floods, droughts having significant effects on our water security, as it then causes our water resources to dry up, and therefore we don't have as much water to use as we did in previous years. As it relates to food security, this can cause damage to crop. Drought and floods can cause damage to crops, as well as hurricanes and storms. They cause damage to crops, which then can affect our food and water security here in the Eastern Caribbean. Right. Yes. Carla, do you have anything to say about the threats?
Yes. Another threat that climate change poses to our water security is that rising sea levels may make salt water intrude onto our water tables, therefore contaminating the water that we have underground and making us have to look for alternate sources of water or ways to purify that water when the salt water leaks into our water tables. It might seem like it's like we're getting more water from the rising sea level, but that's not quality water. It's water that's not potable. So I just wanted to add that.
Right. I'd now like to invite the NC from the St. Kitts chapter, Penelope, if she could provide some insight of what she thinks food and water security, the issues of food and water security in the Eastern Caribbean. Penelope, can you hear us? All right. Okay. While we wait on Penelope, we'll have a quick video. Right. So we're seeing that there have been programs surrounding food security and COVID-19 here in the Eastern Caribbean, and people have been utilizing backyard gardening as a way to deal with those challenges when you can't source certain vegetables or at the supermarket, or they're just too expensive. People are resorting to backyard gardening so that they can deal with this issue.
Have our cabbages. Right here we have some berries, and just today I find out our black supporter is berry.
Hello, my name is Heidi, and I welcome you to Hope Garden. Today, I'm working on preparing a couple of pots to plant out some tomatoes and chickpeas, actually, and then some of my marigolds that the seeds were gifted to me, well, swapped with me, with one of the members of the Backyard Garden group on Facebook. It has been such a great opportunity for me to be a part of this. It really encourages me and gives me ideas and encourages me to do research on questions that other people have that I also have myself. And one of them was, how do we save money on potting soil if we want to grow in pots?
Okay, so is there another video playing? Okay. Right, so we just saw two videos that looked at backyard gardening that's happening across the Eastern Caribbean. It shows that there are people doing things to deal with the issues of food security, and obviously also what that can be used as a way to deal with water security as well, you know. Carla, do you have Carla, can you share the screen again?
I'm trying to. Okay. Okay, you guys can see my screen?
Yes, please, I can see your screen.
Okay, great. So next we will discuss what we see being done already in our territories. So we saw an example from St. Kitts and from Puerto Rico about backyard gardening. So that's one of the options that we can utilize to secure food security. Another way I see my island, Barbados, trying to shore up our food security is working with other nations who have more land than we do, but maybe not as dense populations. They have offered to allow us to use some of their land for farming. Suriname and Guyana are two islands who have partnered with Barbados to try to help shore up food security. We've also had an increase in backyard gardening, and we're innovating our techniques of farming to maximize the amount of produce that can be cultivated on the same amount of land, because as we know, like we are a small island developing state, so land is not something that we have in abundance. It's a limited resource. So maximizing the amount of land while also not degrading it, because as we know in the past, crops were cultivated to export, not to necessarily feed the nation. And there were a lot of negative practices like monocropping, which degraded the soil. And so trying not to repeat those mistakes and take care of the soil that we do have and innovate our techniques to have more have more crops per cultivated per acre or whatever. Those are ways to help combat food security. What about you, Jared? What do you see being done?
Right. So as it relates to food security, I agree with you. We have been utilizing, has been a significant increase in backyard gardening among Barbadian citizens, trying to ensure that we are able to get as much nutritious food as possible. There's a lot of community backyard gardening as well. So it's not just individuals, people are coming together to try and help each other out. But as it relates to water security, in Barbados, we are utilizing rainwater a lot. We're using rainwater for irrigation of for our farms. We are utilizing not just for farming, but also backyard gardening as well, and what's not. We're using water. What can be said, well, generally in the region itself, is that there's been desalination plants developed within the region to try to use salt water and convert it into water that can be used. Also in Barbados, there are laws put in place to ensure laws that help to protect our aquifers, so our sources of water. So in Barbados, the country is split out into various groundwater protection zones, in which the closer you are to an aquifer, there are stricter laws that must be obeyed. So one of them being that in a ground one zone, you're not allowed to have any construction in that area, because then any of the waste can then seek into the water table. So that is one of the actions that I've seen being done. And I don't know if anyone in the crowd would like to say something that they've seen. But if not, we can move on to what we would like to.
I would just add that another thing I see being done is fixing of the infrastructure. So as we know, like our islands, a lot of the piping and the irrigation and that sort of thing has been in place for hundreds of years. So a way to improve water security is to fix the leaks and the just when it breaks and such things, and minimize the amount of burst mains, because in some areas up to 50% of the water gets lost in between the source and where people are actually consuming the water. So that's a good way to easily improve water security without having to look for new sources of water. Just improve the distribution techniques of the water that you already have. So yes, we can move on now to what more we would like to see done.
Correct. So one thing that I would say I'd like to see be seen done as it relates to food security is that we have a more adaptive social protection system put in place for marginalized and vulnerable communities as it relates to being able to access food. That could be in the form of the government providing cash or providing food itself to these individuals, especially persons who are vulnerable in the sense that they cannot economically access food, and of those being some young people within the region. Another thing I would like to be seen done is there are laws to protect, as I said, we were talking about the protecting aquifers and protecting sources of water, but I would like to see that there be more enforcement of these laws within the region, so that there's more, that our water resources are protected, especially since they're being affected drastically by the effects of climate change. But what would you like to see, Carla?
Well, with food security, I would like to see more interregional cooperation, because we have small markets on each of our territories, and it is hard to compete with cheaper food grown in economies of scale coming from overseas. But I think it is a shame that it's easier to get food produced in North America and Europe than it is to get food comes from South America or even the Caribbean, when we need to grow food to maintain our food security. And I think that the government should use pricing strategies to make sure that it is still profitable to grow food in the Caribbean without passing that burden on to the consumers. So it should be profitable to grow our own food because it's necessary, because as we've seen during the COVID-19 pandemic, disruptions in supply chain leave us very vulnerable to price changes and availability changes. So I would like us to support each other's food growing industries by sourcing food from each other and the cheaper markets of Latin America, because I think even if it's a problem with labeling where the labels have to be in English in the supermarket, that is an opportunity for job creation where maybe you just put another label on the package to let people know what it is in English. But I don't think that it is sustainable to continue importing food at the rates that we do and from markets that do not help secure our own food security. As far as what I would like to see done with water security, also more cooperation, because we all are facing the same problems because of geography and climate change, which is a global issue. So if we could pool together, like maybe it's not sustainable for every island to get a desalination plant. Our Prime Minister was talking about one of the challenges and barriers to getting desalination plants is that you have is the scale. We might not need all the water that it can produce, but we would have to pay for all the water, whether or not we use it. So what if more than one island could invest in a desalination plant so that we have the market to use the scale, and then all the burden is not falling on one individual island. So I think initiatives like that would make these solutions feasible and would help just more than the island they're on, and would therefore make it more sustainable and make it last into the future as a lasting solution.
Yeah, excellent point, Carla. So I think in this discussion, we gave you all some information that can get the creative juices flowing so that you guys can, come up with your own actionable ideas that you would like to submit for the competition. So with that, what we'll do now is discuss more about how, now we will play the video from a video from Puerto Rico that is discussing planting fruit trees.
Okay.
Youth Environment Network, capítulo de Puerto Rico. En el 2017, nuestras islas fueron impactadas por el huracán María. En este desastre perdimos millones de árboles y también sufrimos debido a la escasez causada por nuestra dependencia a las importaciones de alimentos. Es por esto que decidimos trabajar por la reforestación y seguridad alimentaria de Puerto Rico. Comenzamos esta iniciativa visitando los sectores más afectados para entregar árboles frutales casa por casa. También entregamos semillas en muchos pueblos. En la actualidad estamos creando parques frutales en comunidades alrededor de Puerto Rico. Estos son espacios donde la comunidad obtiene árboles frutales y puede recibir sus tantos beneficios, tales como sombra, mejor calidad de aire, protección del agua, reconexión con la tierra, y también podrán obtener frutos sanos y gratis. Hemos llegado a miles de familias y continuamos trabajando para crear más espacios seguros y saludables. De esta manera, apoyamos a nuestra seguridad alimentaria, a la reforestación, a nuestros ríos y a crear comunidades más fuertes ante los futuros efectos de la crisis climática. Conoce más sobre CYEN PR y síguenos en nuestras redes.
So that video just showed us another wonderful example of how food security is being approached in the Caribbean. Well, that's the wider Caribbean, but it is still a good initiative that we can then use here in the Eastern Caribbean. So now we'll just discuss a bit about how you can get involved in the competition. Carla, you can discuss how they can enter the competition.
Okay, so there are three numbers for your report. One is for Barbados, one is for Trinidad, and one is for the OECS countries. You add the respective number for your report on WhatsApp, and then you message the word solutions to join and begin the poll. If you would prefer to enter on Facebook, you go to the Ureport page for the respective Facebook. So Ureport Barbados, or Ureport Trinidad and Tobago, or Ureport OECS, and you click message and then type the word solutions and send, and then you'll be able to begin the poll. So how to enter the challenge. These are the numbers that you would add on WhatsApp and message in order to enter the poll. For Trinidad, it is 1-868-296-7723. For OECS, it is 1-758-287-2124. For Barbados, it is 1-246-832-6775. The numbers are on your screen for easy viewing. After you message solutions, if you are not familiar, if you have not used Ureport before, it will ask you some basic questions like your age and where you're responding from. It will not ask you your name. It will not ask you your birth date. It will not ask you anything that is personally identifiable. Ureport takes your privacy seriously, and the information they collect is to inform policy, not to identify you or sell your data to anyone. So if there's any questions from anyone in the audience about how to enter, you can raise your hand and we can answer. Once again, those numbers are for Trinidad, 1-868-296-7723. For OECS, 1-758-287-2124. And for Barbados, 1-246-832-6775. And to enter on Facebook, you go to Ureport Trinidad and Tobago and you message the word solutions, or Ureport OECS and message the word solutions, or Ureport Barbados and message the word solutions. Don't forget not to leave the S off of the word solutions. If there's any difficulty, you can contact CYEN and we will help you out till you can enter the competition. Good luck to everybody, and we hope that you are one of 3 winners of $100 US on a gift card that you can use anywhere. And to win again, you just have to provide your actionable idea saying how you would help alleviate some of the issues that are discussed in the poll. Before we leave, I just want to shout out to our Stay Alive and Thrive ambassadors, who are a group of young people who are already working on these important issues and providing solutions and working towards solving issues like food security and water security in our Caribbean region. If you want to know if OECS is the correct the OECS countries are Antigua and Barbuda, Commonwealth of Dominica, Grenada, Montserrat, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Once again, if you live in the following territories, you will be messaging Ureport OECS: Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, Grenada, Montserrat, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Right. So I would also like to say that I would like to say that after you have participated in the competition, there's also the opportunity for you to be a part of the Stay Alive and Thrive campaign. It is optional part of the competition, and the Stay Alive and Thrive campaign is a petition to get global leaders to increase their ambitions as it relates to climate change. So if you are interested in that opportunity to have your voice added to individuals around the world, to get our global leaders to increase their ambitions, that is an option that you guys have the ability to take part in. All right, so thank you very much for this session today, and I wish you all the best in the competition. I hope that you all let your creative juices flow and think of an actionable idea that can really make a change in your territory, region, community, and so on. So thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you for joining us.
If it's on land, it will end up in the ocean. And for every fish that chokes on our waist, someone's livelihood dies too. Some say, please stop marine pollution.
So many islands, familiar connections, sharing resources, one economy. Of history and culture and shared destiny.
Why wouldn't we care? One Caribbean sea. We all belong here. One economy.
Making future sense of our present tense. We're giving it all we are. Our moment is here. One Caribbean sea. Values we all hold dear.
One economy.
Love and glory, the joys of our journey will surely inspire the earth.
Yo, this is Skinny Fabulous. Check this for a second. When your plastics, engine oil, factory waste, and fertilizer runoff end up in the sea, that's a real bad vibe. Trust me, gotta cut it out. We all have to stop that. And that's the memo right there.
Why wouldn't we care? One Caribbean sea can prosper right here.
One Caribbean
By
sea.
giving it all we are worth.
By cherishing the lands of our birth. Why wouldn't we care?
One Caribbean sea.
For the oceans we share.
One economy.
Painting this picture and framing our future. We're giving it all we are.
Hey OECS, this is Mikkel Henderson. This song is real, just like our ocean. Think ahead, act now. Stop littering the land and protect our sea. Your garbage, your house, your garage, your factory, your move. It's that simple.
We're keepers of ocean and earth.
One Caribbean sea.
We're getting
cherish the lands of our birth.
One Caribbean sea. Our treasures of blue sky and sun. One blue economy. One Caribbean sea. One blue economy. One Caribbean sea. Our treasures of blue sky and sun. One Caribbean sea.
Bye, everyone. And don't
Bye,
forget
everyone.
to sign the Stay Alive and Thrive petition. The link can be found at the end of the poll. Have a great weekend and good luck in the competition.
Yes, please. Goodbye, everyone.